Of all the people in the world, Saudi royals place their trust in one group more than anyone else. It's not who you think. And what they just revealed about Filipinos, it'll change the way you see this relationship forever. Let's rewind. Imagine Saudi Arabia in the 1970s. Oil money is flowing, skyscrapers are rising, and the royal family is expanding its influence. They need people they can trust. Not just skilled workers, but individuals who would treat their households like their own. So why did they choose Filipinos? At first, it was about skills. Filipinos were fluent in English, well-educated, and hardworking. But let's be real, hard work is everywhere. The real reason, one word, malasakit. This uniquely Filipino concept means genuine care, going the extra mile, not because you have to, but because you want to. In a society where trust is everything, this was a game changer. Take, for example, the case of a Filipino nurse assigned to a Saudi prince. When he fell seriously ill, she didn't just do her job, she stayed by his side even after her shift ended. When he had to travel abroad for treatment, he refused to go without her. Think about that. A prince who had access to the best doctors, private jets, and hospitals trusted one Filipino nurse over all of them. That's not just loyalty, that's family-level trust. Then there's the story of a Filipino housemaid who worked for a royal princess for 20 years. When the princess got married, she insisted that the same Filipina move with her to her new home. Why? Because in her words, she's the only one who truly knows me. This isn't about salary or contracts. This is about a level of trust so deep that Filipino workers became part of the family. But let's flip the script. What happens when this trust gets tested? Believe it or not, there was a time when a trusted Filipino worker pulled off one of the biggest betrayals in Saudi royal history. But even that wasn't enough to break the bond between Filipinos and Saudi royalty. Want to hear that insane story? Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind. Now let me ask you, have you ever had someone in your life who went above and beyond for you? That's what Filipinos do in Saudi royal households. Comment below, what do you think makes someone truly trustworthy? And while you're at it, smash that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories. Trust is a rare currency, especially in royal circles, where privacy is everything. Every move, every conversation, and every decision inside a palace holds weight. Yet time and time again, Saudi princes have placed an extraordinary level of trust in their Filipino staff. But why? It's not just about skills. It's about something far deeper, emotional intelligence. Filipinos have a unique way of sensing unspoken needs. They don't just follow orders, they anticipate what needs to be done before being asked. And in a royal household, where discretion is more valuable than gold, this ability makes all the difference. Take, for example, a Filipino driver who worked for a Saudi prince. One night, the prince, going through a personal crisis, asked to be driven around the city. No questions, no small talk, just silence. The driver simply nodded and drove, understanding that what the prince needed wasn't a chauffeur, but space. That one silent act of respect, it cemented the driver's place as the prince's most trusted aide. Years later, when the prince rose to power, he made sure the driver and his family were financially secure for life. Then there's the story of a royal chef. After years of cooking for a Saudi princess, he memorized not just her favorite dishes, but the exact way she liked her tea, down to the temperature. One day, when the palace staff mistakenly brought her tea made by someone else, she immediately knew. Her reaction, "This is not my tea." From that day forward, she refused to let anyone but her Filipino chef prepare her meals. To outsiders, these moments may seem small, but in the royal world, they mean everything. Saudi royals don't just see their Filipino workers as employees. They see them as part of their inner circle, a position that takes years to earn and a lifetime to keep. But here's the twist. What happens when this trust is tested? Because while Filipinos have earned a reputation for loyalty, there was one rare scandal that shook the Saudi royal family to its core. Want to hear how a single betrayal almost destroyed everything? Stick around, because this story is wild. Now, let's hear from you. What's the biggest act of loyalty you've ever witnessed? Drop a comment below. Trust is priceless, but what happens when someone abuses it? Saudi royals have long relied on Filipino workers, praising their loyalty, discretion, and work ethic. But one shocking case shattered that trust, so badly it nearly brought down an entire royal household. Meet the Filipino personal assistant, let's call him Ramon. For 20 years, he was the shadow of a Saudi prince, not just an employee, but practically a human diary. The prince's breakfast order? Ramon knew it before he did. Which wife was mad at him? Ramon had the damage control plan ready. His biggest secrets? Locked in Ramon's mental vault. But then things started going missing. It started with small things. A designer watch vanished. A briefcase with cash, poof, gone. But hey, maybe the prince misplaced them? After all, when you own 50 Rolexes, does losing one really matter? But then an entire Arabian horse disappeared. Yes, a whole horse, not a necklace, not a wallet, a horse. That's when the prince knew something was up. At first, suspicion was on everyone, the drivers, the security team, even the chef. Until one sharp-eyed Filipino housekeeper noticed something strange. Ramon had been living suspiciously well. New luxury car? Check. A house back in the Philippines? Check. An entire secret life of vacations and five-star dining? Double check. When confronted, Ramon denied everything until they found evidence in his secret bank accounts. The prince was devastated. I treated him like my own brother, he said. He had everything. But here's the ironic part. Who exposed the crime? Another Filipino worker. The housekeeper who noticed the inconsistencies and bravely spoke up. This proved one thing. Trust can be broken, but real loyalty? That's unshakable. So, what do you think? Is betrayal worse when it comes from someone you trust completely? Drop your thoughts below, and hey, smash that like button before someone steals it. Alright, imagine this. You're cruising through the Arabian desert, sitting next to a literal Saudi prince. The stars are out, the wind is whispering through the dunes, and then BAM! Out of nowhere, gunfire erupts. Chaos, screams, bullet holes in the windshield. This isn't a Hollywood movie, this actually happened. A Saudi prince was returning from a private meeting when his convoy was ambushed in the dead of night. Now, most people in that situation would do one of two things, pray or panic. But his Filipino driver? He just tightened his grip on the wheel, muttered something in Tagalog, and floored it. Hang on, Your Highness, he shouted as bullets zipped past the car. He wasn't just driving, he was Tokyo drifting through the desert, weaving through dunes like he was playing Need for Speed Saudi edition. No headlights, no GPS, just pure instincts. The prince probably rethinking every life choice he ever made. The bodyguards, nowhere to be found. For 40 minutes, this driver outmaneuvered armed attackers, dodging bullets, avoiding traps, and making every car chase scene in Fast and Furious look like a Sunday drive. And just when the prince thought it was over, the driver whipped the car around, sending a cloud of sand into the air and pulled into a hidden safe house. The prince sat there covered in sweat, breathing like he just ran a marathon. Then he looked at his driver, the man who had just risked his life for him, and without saying a word, he took off his gold watch and placed it in his hand. A Saudi gesture of ultimate gratitude. And get this, the prince later pushed for the driver to be granted Saudi citizenship, a title almost no foreigner ever gets. This wasn't just a show of trust. This was next level, life or death, brotherhood type of trust. Would you risk your life for someone like that? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more insane real life stories like this, hit that subscribe button because trust me, we've got more where that came from. We've spent this entire video hyping up the legendary trust between Saudi royals and their Filipino staff. But what if I told you that trust was once shattered into a million gold-plated pieces? Yeah, this is where things get wild. Picture this, a Saudi prince draped in silk robes, lounging on a golden couch, sipping the most ridiculously expensive coffee money can buy. He's relaxed, unbothered, because why worry when his right-hand Filipino assistant has everything under control? This assistant, let's call him Ramon, wasn't just an employee, he was family. He knew everything, the prince's schedules, passwords, bank accounts, even his favorite way to drink tea. If trust had a face, it was Ramon. But then things started disappearing. At first, it was barely noticeable. A missing Rolex, maybe misplaced. A few thousand reals missing, pocket change for a prince. But then his entire vault got wiped out. Gone, vanished, not even a single gold coin left to flip for fun. And the best part? No forced entry. No broken locks. Security cameras, completely useless. This wasn't a robbery, this was an inside job. Panic, full-blown palace chaos. The prince goes Sherlock Holmes, the royal guards are running around like headless chickens, the staff are being interrogated left and right, and the only person who had access to everything? His most loyal Filipino assistant. Yup, the man who had been by his side for 20 years, the one who knew his deepest secrets, his biggest fears, even the exact number of steps from his bedroom to the vault. And when they dug deeper, oh boy. Ramon wasn't just stealing pocket change. This man was playing 4D chess. Offshore accounts in Switzerland, luxury condos in Dubai, secret transactions worth millions. This wasn't some petty theft, this was a full-blown heist, a real-life Hollywood movie. And the prince, devastated. Not just because he lost millions, but because he never saw it coming. I trusted him like a brother, he reportedly told close confidants. He had everything, and yet he betrayed me. Now you'd think that after this massive betrayal, Saudi royals would never trust Filipinos again, right? Wrong. Because here's the plot twist. Even after this scandal, Saudi princes still choose Filipinos over anyone else. Why? Because for every one betrayal, there are thousands of Filipinos who would never even think about doing something like this. They don't just work for the royal family, they protect them, they become family. And that is a bond that even the biggest scandal couldn't break. Now, let me ask you, if you were the prince, would you ever trust again? Drop your thoughts below, and before your wallet disappears too, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories.